actually to take notes because some of the information that we're about to share is information that you're probably going to hear for the first time. I know I heard it for the first time a little less than a week ago. And since I've been studying it, it just makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. So I'm going to drop a couple of names. I'm going to drop a couple of happenings in history. And I'm going to want you, whoever's watching, to go back and actually do a Google search. And I'll drop some of it in the chat so that you'll have something to go back and look at. But do a Google search on some of these things and just check it out for yourself and see how valid it is, what it is that we're discussing. So for those of you who actually saw the little advertisement before we went live, we're talking about catching trends, learning trends, and then learning how to take advantage of the time that these trends are happening in. So I got my guy, Elmer Irizarry.
My man, Brian. What's going on?
So,
Happy to be here.
It's an honor to have you again, man. You know, I feel like since meeting my wife back in 2006, she's from Bolivia. So meeting her in 2006 and already having been studying the Spanish language, but meeting her and then even going to Costa Rica to study Spanish, going to Bolivia to spend extended holidays, like immersing myself into the culture. I feel like I'm part Hispanic, man. So I'm taking.
Man, you're in, baby.
Taking some of la cultura.
That's it.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Like, who are you? What do you do? What you know about money? What you know about trends? And then let's just get into it, man.
And I'm actually very excited to talk about this because it is something I haven't been able to really put out there from my end of things. Like I speak a lot about many different topics, but this topic that I really do enjoy, I don't speak too much about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, you know, my name is Elmer Irizarry Lopez. I come from a very small town. We call it the town of Coffee, Yauco, Puerto Rico. And I was pretty much born and raised there till the age of 14. Came into the States without knowing anything in the language of the English word. It was something that it was taught as one of the classes in the curriculum, but they was not paying attention to because it didn't seem like it was going to be such a need. So when I came over here, I was the age of 14. I already had plan in my head that I wanted to be successful, and not just successful. I wanted to be able to make it to have as much money as I could possibly imagine. That drove me from a very small age. It started with art, and when I did art, it was sort of a benchmark in my life because off of that, I wasn't just able to earn a scholarship for the artwork that I did in the competition, and it opened so many different doors to getting me out. And from there, things happened, family situations happened. We ended up, I think it was like in 1998, storm had come and swept the island and left us flat with the house wide open. And yeah, those were the times that I was already driven into, I want to be successful. I want to be able to travel, to have what seems to be comfortable for everybody else, that it seems to be unreachable for us. And it was all about the mindset. I already had the hunger of wanting to get there, but I didn't have the know-how. And as soon as I was able to learn a little bit of English, that's all it took, a little bit of English. It got me really intrigued into, I was always a very open individual, so I loved talking to people. And so it started with small, side hustle while I was at the full-time job. I was at that time, I remember this over 15 years ago, I was working at the airport. And in that time, I began to create hustles because I knew and I figured it out right out of high school. This is right out of the gate. I figured it out right out after high school that having a regular job was not what I wanted for me, and it was not the way to be if you want to really enjoy yourself and make something bigger of yourself than just going to work and come home with things that you don't like, with people that might get you upset, or coming home with all of this baggage, and then you got to deal with the baggage from home. So that very early on for me, I caught on to that, and it was what drove me to create side hustles. And from creating side hustles, I, very very fortunate to be able to meet people like my father-in-law, that he leading me, was like, listen, you're a pretty smart kid, you could take this route. And that's when he showed me the way, and I would literally open my first little company, which it was a little clothing store. At the same time I was doing that, this is amazing, because you know how last time I think we got together, we spoke a little bit about um, having education wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to schooling for X-ray technician, so I was in the midst of graduating when my I go to look at the numbers of what I'm making on a weekly basis versus what I'm about to go get paid if I stop the side hustle and I go full on X-ray technician
Yeah.
professional career mode. That professional career mode was about to slash the income that I had by half,
What?
and then that was not gonna happen. So right there, right then, and when I got my first job offer and I got out and I finished school and I did everything, I literally that's when I figured out I'm never going to become a worker bee. There is no way that this is what it was instilled in our parents,
Yeah.
because that's where the idea came from, that I needed to get a good education to have a career. But when I had already started doing little business, not really knowing much, because I really didn't know much, but I was always open and making mistakes and willing to make the mistakes and admit the mistakes and take ownership of it. And so being able to be that type of individual allowed me to grow so fast, because everywhere that I went, I asked questions. I don't care. I didn't care. You know how sometimes people say, "Oh, I have a question that sounds dumb." There is no such thing, because if you don't know, how are you going to find out the answer to that question? You just can't remain silent thinking that it's not a true question. So that drove me, being that type of guy, that type of persona. It drove me to really move forward, and after that I started to scale up little by little, and then I had a really big fall. I didn't know much about how I knew about the market, and when we start talking about 2008, it's gonna be great, because I actually missed out on a huge opportunity that I could have put me beyond the atmosphere early on, which was Bitcoin. I caught onto it when it was very early on, like at $300.
What?
Yeah, and I didn't not invest in Bitcoin. So that is one of those opportunities that I let go. And when I saw Bitcoin coming back, that it made it to like 9 grand, that they were going to have a spree on that winter. I think it was 2018, 2017, 2018. Bitcoin was going to have a sprint. They were going to go from 9 to 20. And I caught on to the trend, and nobody that I spoke to, everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, listen, if you have money in your bank account saved, you need to go put your money on Bitcoin, because you're about to double your money in the next 5 days. Then you could pull your money out. Well, I'm the only one who put my money on it. The little bit of money that I had, I was able to double, obviously, within the 5 days. It
Yeah.
wasn't a lot, but because of the situation that happened, but I was able to take that advantage of that trend. Picking up on that, it's just being able to be early on things. It's you just literally have to be out the box on the regular. You got to be out the box. You just got to be looking what's moving, how is it moving. Look at the numbers. What's the data telling you? How is the market moving? What is it being said on the news? What is the companies doing? How is this event going to completely change what this company is going to be doing as far as quarter goes. It's just so many different things and too many different variables to the equation to pay attention to that would literally just once you could figure it out, it literally you feel like you just discovered those.
Man, that's real, man. You know, and I took a few notes on some of the things that you were speaking on. So I'm going to rewind a little bit. So you were down and out, down in Puerto Rico, and you saw more abroad. You saw the potential of having more, being more. They call it the American dream here, but hey, you can have your dream wherever you go if you know what you're doing. So you saw that and you wanted to figure out how can I get that. So and you already had the hunger,
Yep.
and you had the hunger, but you had to get the knowledge. Now, there's so many people walking around right now that are super passionate about certain things, and they will say that I'm hungry for success because I'm passionate about X, Y, and Z. But that passion, if the market isn't saying that that passion is profitable, or anybody actually needs the services or products that that passion is going to bring to the market, then you're going to be stuck. So it's all about figuring out, okay, what is actually a necessity? What is actually a problem that I can solve? What is actually something going on out there that maybe is something hot right now? And if I take advantage of it right now, I can position myself to be able to take advantage of the next trend that's coming along simply because I put myself in the right situation then. Now, speaking of that, when you mentioned the whole deal around Bitcoin, now I'd always had some type of urge to get into the stock market when I was younger, but I never. I wasn't aware of it. I didn't have the knowledge, so I didn't know what to do, where to start, or anything. And it was only when Bitcoin, it was 2017, when it started to skyrocket. And somebody reached out to me and was like, hey, B, you want to get on this company? It's like a crowdfunding deal. You put your money in, Bitcoin is going to do this, and you get this much back. And I'm like, I don't know. And I said, okay, let me just go a little bit in there. Anyways, that company like folded. I don't know what happened with it, but I started to pay attention to the market and I saw it start to go up. And I finally put my money in when it already hit like 18,000. And
Wow.
yes, and I'm like, oh man, this is like not stopping. And
Yep.
I think it got like to 17,000 to 19,000, like 700 or something. It was almost at $20,000, and that's when it started going down. And I'm like, man, why didn't I catch this? Why didn't I listen? Because I remember hearing about Bitcoin like way back when. I'm thinking this is like some little fake tokens that you use to play games on the internet. Like I had no idea what it was. Anyways, I got into the stock market then. I got into cryptocurrency, and I just was like, I guess I missed the bus. I missed.
I know the feeling.
Against the bus. And I'm like, that's something I would never, ever, ever do again. Because the thing is, man, when you miss these trends and you see these people like sitting pretty, like they have made it for themselves because they caught the trend, it makes you sick. And
Yeah.
dang, like I gotta pay attention the next go around.
I'm gonna tell you when I caught in 2007 when I caught Bitcoin. This is how much money I missed out on making because I had $1,500 set aside that I knew it was gonna go for Bitcoin. When I saw Bitcoin jump from 200 to 300, it made me hold back for a second, and that's when I made the mistake. And I'm gonna tell you how much money I missed out if I would have spent $1,500.
Yeah.
Based on what happened all the way until now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what that number is. You're gonna be surprised how much money you be leaving on the table, and you don't even realize it. How much money you leave on the table. So if I'm gonna do this real quick. So I'm gonna do 1,500. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So that's 5, right? So that's 5. I could have gotten 5. $300 turned out to $20,000. I could have made $190,000 something $1,000. I could have made off if I would have just put $1,500 into Bitcoin when it was at 300 in 2007. That's the type of deals that you cannot be missing because right now, as you can see, You're like, man, I can't believe I missed that train. Like, stop thinking about the gratification at the moment. Just think about what could happen in the long run.
And that's the thing, man. Like a lot of people, they see these kids, they see these like super early 20-year-olds that like became these overnight millionaires. A lot of them caught the Bitcoin bubble. They caught it and they made a chunk. And they say, you know what? I'm about to start some type of business with this. And they just started all different types of business. They had enough money to put behind certain advertisement, and they just blew up over here, blew up over there. Even if it turned out to be some fraudulent ripoff, they made money on it because they positioned themselves at that other trend.
Position, timing.
New trend.
It was timing.
Yeah, it was all about the timing. All about the timing. And
that's what we got going on right now again. This is it.
So, for those who watched my little preview earlier when I was introing this, at the very end I said, before you jump on, if you're going to jump on at when we do our live, I want you to Google Tulip Mania. I want you to Google Tulip Mania and 1634, because the Tulip Mania, just as this is the coronavirus pandemic, Tulip Mania was the pandemic, was the scare that happened way back in 1634. Yes, like something happened around tulips being a certain price, and the price skyrocketed. Everybody went to buy tulips before it got too expensive, and then it completely disrupted the value of tulips, and that shook up the whole banking system, and it was a crash. It was a market crash, and that has happened 16 more times throughout history. Varying years between, but 16 more times there's been major market crashes. And if you look back through history, you look at the names, the Rockefellers, you look up the Henry Fords, you look at the Carnegies, these big names that have amassed generational wealth that has continued to climb and climb and climb through the generations. You'll learn that most of them started accumulating their wealth during one of these crises. And they caught the trend. If you catch the trend, you figure out, okay, what is in demand right now? What is something that people have to have right now that I can get behind, provide a service, and there goes my riches. There goes me starting a new legacy for my family. Like, figure it out. If you don't know what it is, you have no idea what it is, reach out to myself, reach out to Elmer, because we have been blessed to be connected with a fellow that's pretty good at catching trends.
That's correct.
Definitely. And, I look back in 2008 when we're in the last economic recession, which they said was the worst in history since the Great Depression. And I want to say in a 2-year span between 2008 to 2010, 7% of Americans went unemployed. Like, that percentage of jobs just like disappeared, or that percentage of wealth. Like, it was horrible. The worst since 2000. Well, since 1929 market crash, Great Depression. Well, if you fast forward to today, 42.7%. These are numbers from a few months back. 42.7%, and the span of 2 months, 42.7% of the nation became jobless. That's almost half the people in this whole nation became jobless. Yeah. And that was the greatest. 2008 to 2010 was the worst in history since the Great Depression. So what do you think we're living in right now?
That's exactly what we're living in right now. It's repeating itself. There's a trend right now to catch.
Yes.
You know what it is.
It's all about figuring out where is that need? Where are people hurting? So what have you seen, Elmer? What have you seen?
I mean, come on, we're living it again. We have literally more this time than half of the population off of work. All of these individuals that had a decent lifestyle, their jobs literally becoming null. Like, you're no longer needed, and now you will be replaced by technology, which is something else that people are not catching on to. They think that we're going to go back to normal. We're switching over to technology as we speak right now. When we come back out of this, if you're not into one of these little trends that we have going on, you're gonna miss a huge buzz again. And then
Yeah,
we're
man.
gonna have this kind of same conversation in the next 10 years talking about how we lost out on 90,000 something dollars.
And the thing is, and we keep alluding to it. You don't know what you don't know till you know. And you know what? There's people that are watching this right now that don't know. And they are too egotistical. Um, they're too prideful to say that I don't know. And they're going to be the ones, in the words of a mentor of mine, that are slaughtered through this crisis.
Yeah.
Because those who are hurting are going to be hurting a little bit more. Now that hurt could lessen, or it could get worse, or it could get worse, or it could get better, depending on the outcome of this election next week. So, depending on which one of these gentlemen take office, either the people who've been thriving are going to start hurting a little bit. I mean, they've been killing it, so they're going to actually have to pay a little bit extra.
Right.
Or the people who've been getting slaughtered, they're just going to be, I almost said something kind of vulgar, they're going to be slaughtered even worse. Because
unfortunately, that's the truth.
Yeah, because the thing is, when certain people are in power, they are going to forecast, okay, my family, my estate, all of that, how are they going to fare depending on what, I mean, and some of you guys, you can read what you picking up what I'm putting down.
Mm-hmm.
How is my family going to fare if I make sure certain things are put in place right now? How are they going to fare in the long run? Because if you look at companies like Amazon, you making more than $1 trillion. Companies like Apple making more than $1 trillion for the year, and you pay goose egg in taxes. Like, when you got certain people in power, you might actually get a refund. You
never know.
Yes, I mean, you're gonna be like
he's sort of getting a refund already through the mailing program. The mailing program gives them $1.47 back on every package that gets delivered.
Yeah,
they pay for delivering packages.
Man, I'm telling you that. And the thing is, in one sense, people. Now, I'm not going to throw fault at anyone, but you gotta catch the trends. If you see a trend of these insanely wealthy people not paying taxes, like, what are they doing? How is it? Guys, if you don't have a business of some sort, if you don't have a 1099 where you can write things off, you're gonna be in the peasantry. Like, it's going to get so much worse for you. So I don't care if you just decide, you know what? I'm going to cut hair of all of them. I'm just being personal. I got a lot of young fellas walking around the neighborhood. I'm going to start cutting hair on a regular basis. I'm just going to charge $10 a head, just to be able to start me a business so that eventually I can have me a 1099. So I can actually write off electricity. I can write off my part of my air conditioning. Like, when you get to where you know how to use these tax codes to write off so much to where you're getting paid back instead of you paying taxes.
Oh yeah.
When you're learning how to pick up on the trends of the wealthy and start to inch yourself closer and closer to being part of that. So
that's it.
That's why some people will ask me, and I had a gentleman, and this is one of those conversations that typically, like, most people don't want to have, because, like, why are you asking me that? He asked me, am I Republican or Democrat, and who am I going to vote for? And I told him, I don't claim Republican nor Democrat because I don't like putting myself in a box, because there are certain things that I see Republicans do, and just a second here, that I see Republicans do and put in place that I know I can benefit from if I do X, Y, Z the right way. But then at the same time, I see people out there who are nowhere near where I am, or have nowhere near the knowledge or the wherewithal that I have, that they need assistance in certain ways, at least to get them to a certain point. And so I have to, like, I straddle that fence. I ain't gonna say I walk on that fence. And I jump on this side when I need to be on this side. I jump on this side when I need to be on this side. But at the same time, it's something that we have to go out just like we're doing right now. We can't sit here and say just because I have the knowledge and I know that I'll be okay if X, Y, and Z happens. We can't sit here and keep it to ourselves. We have to realize, pay it forward, spread the knowledge. Because if I sit here in my humble abode, y'all see my lavish castle that I'm in. Some of y'all seen my background before. But if I sit here and I'm content within who I am, where I am. I don't want to give any of my secrets out. That's not going to do me any good. So everything that I do, to one degree or another, is to benefit the life of somebody around me. So one of the things that Elmer and I are a part of right now is this group called the $100 Million Run Group. Now, when you hear $100 Million Run, you may automatically assume, why are they over here talking about $100 million when people out here jobless? Because we're not here saying, I want to make $100 million. We're saying we're creating a network of individuals, helping them start something of value that's going to bring value to the marketplace, something that they're passionate about, something that they have a natural talent, that they have a unique skill set for, and adding certain services to that, so that they can generate a certain amount of revenue, to where as a collective, we together can generate that $100 million. Now, I can easily say, I'm on a $10,000 run, and I go out and make $10,000 real quick. Peace. I made it. We did it.
Yeah.
And I leave everybody else out. But the larger you make that number, the more inclusive you can be. And so many people are listening to this right now, may have some talent, some skills, some passion that they want to use to figure out, how can I put this together to serve the masses, and actually add the services to it that are trending right now, that are needed right now, so that I can be a part of that. Not necessarily be a part of our $100 million run, but be a part of a collective network of giving value to the marketplace, but also, generating wealth for you and your family. So, yeah, man, some of the places that obviously individuals are hurting at right now is anything around wellness, anything around the finances when it comes to staying well, anything around death, really. Because if you look at, and I'm going to be super immediate, I think I've heard 3 on one broadcast and 2 on another, but there was a hurricane that just came through here in the south, across the south. Came in through Louisiana, went up through Mississippi, Alabama, kept on going up. I want to say 1 person has died in Louisiana, 1 in Mississippi, and 1 in Georgia. And I'm pretty sure that those people were not planning not to be here 24 hours ago. They were not planning, or their family wasn't planning for them not to be here. And not only are they suffering because of the loss of a loved one, but a lot of them probably didn't have the finances put together to where they could take care of those final expenses, to where they could take care of the debts that were left behind. So there's so many people that have dealt with similar deaths like that, who may not have been in the position to really take care of things because they didn't have life insurance in place. Now, life insurance is something that I actually became a licensed agent when I lived in Miami for a bit. And one thing that we really started to internalize after we started to hear all of the stories about people that needed it and didn't have it. So one thing that we used to just tell all of our families, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So there's
insurance for everything else.
Yeah, and like there's so many more people right now that are smartening up on that, understanding that, you know what, I almost dropped it. I got insurance on this.
There you go.
I got insurance on this. I got insurance on my car. I got insurance on all these things, and I can buy another one, but I don't have insurance on my life.
Why wouldn't you? Doesn't that just make sense right there? I mean, come on.
Yeah, so I mean, if you know someone out here who may be in a predicament to where they're gonna need, even if they don't need it right now, like I said, it's better to need it or to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So if you know anyone that may be a potential, what do they say, high risk to this virus that's going on, and they're saying that we haven't even reached the peak of it yet. So we've all, and I mean, we can go through the politics of, well, actually, this percentage of those deaths weren't actually coronavirus related. They were this. You can go through all that all you want to, but over 250 people have died over the past 6 months and some change. And I'm sure a large percentage of that 250,000 people didn't have anything put in place to take care of them whenever they pass. And at the same time, there's probably a lot of court cases that are pending right now of where is this property going to go? Who's going to take over this property? The city has control of this home now because you didn't have a will in place. You didn't have a living trust in place. You didn't have a power of attorney to decide who was going to get what, who was going to be responsible for what. So thankfully, Elmer and I, we have a mentor of ours directed us to this company that we've been able to attach to our own brand to help us add the services to what we have to offer so that we can address some of these issues. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm real big about being able to pour back into my community. When I say my community, I mean the Black community. Now, I love all people. I want all people to live a long, happy, successful life, but I want to pour into my community. And I know that my community is so behind when it comes to being prepared financially and across the board. So if you know anybody who is in the need, you might want to look into getting them some life insurance. You might want to look into to helping them position themselves so that the rest of the family doesn't have to suffer financially and have relationships broken down because nobody can agree on, okay, who's going to pay this house taxes now, who's going to take over this property. Like, you got to have those things in place.
See,
So have you ever had any like experience having to deal with something like that after somebody passed?
so it wasn't the experience did happen, but it was very not something that it was thought of, because you know how you always think that you're not supposed to bury your sons or your daughters. Well, that situation kind of happened in my family about 3 years ago already, and so that is definitely took a toll as far as bit of of the gem of financial side. Even though there wasn't any negative net worth to be paid off, but just by the fact that there wasn't anything ready, because the thought of having to bury somebody that young, it was never passing your mind. It just caught everybody off guard.
Yeah.
And so that definitely this is a experience of my own. So, and I understand that and I do have my own life insurances in place, but understanding that you can have someone else in your family close to you as a brother or sister that you couldn't really keep up with all that, and now you have to deal with that back too. It definitely puts people in hard situations to move forward from, but it is never not impossible. But being able to be someone that you are able, if you're able, you can't just take that for granted. I understand when you cannot become able because of the situations is really, really, really struggling. Like, I know some people that are really, really struggling. I understand that because I've been through those times. But you cannot sit there and stay stuck. You have to be able to put yourself in a plan. You got to create a budget system. You got to create, a savings plan. You got to be able to create and put all of these things in place that you're literally creating a family business. So you have to think of it this way. Even if this is not something you need, you think you don't need, you need it, because being able to put your family in order and put the finances of everyone in order in your family it just makes the whole entire machine run so much smoother, because there is not that, you do not have the fatigue of thinking if you're going to make it to the next paycheck. And that's what over half of the civilization is living off right now. And over half of the civilization was on that mindset, and now they have nothing left, and they are now up to their necks in debt, and into their necks in they're not able, they're losing their homes. What the other day we were having this conversation, what was the percentage that we had of how many people had literally gone 3 months that now their houses are going to start getting their foreclosure going on?
I've been reading so many numbers. I feel like a mathematician.
The numbers are pretty high. The numbers are high.
And that's the thing. Like, so many people, they went on these plans. They made these agreements. Okay, you don't have to pay your mortgage for this amount of months. But just because they went not having to pay the mortgage, don't mean that they've been stacking up the money so that they can pay it at the end. So a lot of these people are about to lose their homes. A lot of people like are in a position, like I mentioned earlier, to be slaughtered. You know, to take the words from a mentor of ours, that's just what it's going to be. And you have to position yourself to be able to help those individuals. I did a live a couple of days ago on real estate investing with tax liens. A lot of these people come 2021, when everything's open again and they're like, okay, you got to pay now. They're not going to be able to pay. So people are going to be able to come in, swoop up properties based off of tax liens. If those people aren't able to pay back in a certain amount of time, might get some cheap real estate. You can be one of those individuals, but you got to be connected. So
that is actually another trend that's about to blow out of proportion.
Yes, indeed. Man, it's just so many, man. And
everybody that's listening to this definitely needs to get in touch with either one of us, because we have that sauce right now. This is about to go so crazy. This you guys, I don't even have words to express how crazy this is gonna be. Like, it's gonna be insane.
And you got to be connected, though, man. Like, so many people right now are stressed out about not having a job, or stressed out about not being able to go back to work. Is my job coming back? You need to be taking this time right now to figure out, what can I create? What can I develop to where I can serve a need? It's a need out there. And if there's a need out there, you can make some money on that need. But a lot of times, I'm going to keep on saying, you don't know what you don't know until you know. And you ain't going to know until you're connected with the right people. And once you get connected with the right people, listen, follow them. Stop being hard-headed. Because what my mama used to say, and pardon anybody who may be offended, a hard head make a soft ass. So you keep on, like, you're going to be hurt and you're going to fall. Like, you got to listen. You know, and I even say that to myself, because I can even improve my consistency in so many different areas. Yeah. But to take it back to just real quickly, the incident that you mentioned, burying someone that's untimely, very untimely when they're younger, burying a child or so.
Yeah, I definitely want to speak about this, because and this would last forever, because if this is going to be on YouTube, this will last forever. Only one individual that is in our group, I believe, knows what happened, which is our mentor. But I was 20. This happened 2017. This happened 2 months before Hurricane Maria comes to Puerto Rico. This happens. I'm in the middle of making my run through Puerto Rico. So I'm learning everything, and I am navigating. This is why I say that there is no dumb question. You just have to ask to get to where you want to go. This Bible says it best. If you ask, you shall receive. If you don't ask, you can't receive what you're not asking for. So I went over, and then this is part of, because it became so important to me at that point that I needed to take care and love myself more. Before, it was just, okay, so I'm doing all of this work for everybody, but now I'm not doing this for me. Like, I'm not doing this for me. I'm just doing it for everyone else that I want to see better. Little do I know that what I have been working towards for so hardly, for that one individual in special that I had in the back of my head the whole entire time, which happens to be my sister. Come a day before my birthday, and this is what makes it better. A day before my birthday, I received a phone call that I am never expecting to receive from my parents. And I'm expecting a phone call because it's the day before my birthday that is
Oh,
going to be some jokes and stuff because I'm going to be turning 30. So I'm expecting a phone call, not what you would think in the lifetime. If you see the situation that I kind of put myself in, you were not expecting to receive a phone call like that. Yes, there was the knowledge that there was some hardship happening with my sister, but it wasn't ever thought that it was going to get to that point to where the day before my birthday, I get the phone call that she has passed away. The minute that I get that phone call, I literally, the first thing I did, because I did not want to literally lose all I have worked for the past year and a half. I've been putting in so much work in the past year and a half, getting all of these new connections, getting entangled into this new market, making a mark in this new market, letting making a brand in this new market. Those things are not easy work. These are hard work you must put in order for you to be able to become knowledgeable and respected in the community, because of the type of community that is a very highly sought after community, that if you are in sort of anything that has to do with business, and if you're connected, you are viewed in a complete different scope at that moment. So that is something that is available to everybody that is here listening to this. We have the connections. Get in touch with us. We are more willing to connect. Why wouldn't we want everyone else to grow? But that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to help everybody else cash into the trend so that we can all have the piece of that pie. We all want to see everybody win. We're not in a competition because there is no competition. You only have 5% of the population that have all the money. So there's no competition. If there was competition, the number would be larger. But all you have to think about is what you're going to create. What is it that you're good at? What is it that you could create without noticing, without effort, and it's good? What is that thing that you just enjoy to do? You could do it without effort. It's effortless to you. It does not feel like work. What is that one thing? That's what you have to go chase. Now, you have to be able to place all of this rules for yourself, your family, and for generations to come, because this is what we're talking about, being able to create generational wealth as far as catching all of these trends. This is the end goal. So being able to get on this train at this moment, it is pivotal for many of you. You guys don't understand how pivotal this is for you. This definitely becomes a pivot moment, because if you are in this situation to where you lost your job because you, like I was saying earlier, you had the thought in the back of your head, you were fighting to survive to the next paycheck, not being able to put yourself in a position to where you put yourself in a couple of rules. You're able to obviously make the most important rule to be able to have that at least 10% saved. That is what's going to get you out of the hole. That 10% is what's going to get you. It's what's going to get you out of a hole. If you're a regular working bee, like myself was, and I am, and I become myself because I do it for myself. I work so hard. It's because I'm working for myself, so I enjoy it. It doesn't bother me. But if you're working B and you're fighting till your next paycheck to survive, you need to get off your bottom, and what is it that you can get on or create that people that know you will like. And then from there on, you're going to start expanding your network. If you take the power of two a day, the power of two a day, it is the most powerful move anybody can make, because it allows you to be lazy in a way, but it gets you out of bed hard enough to go get those two. Because remember, you're only going to go after two new people a day. This becomes so a pivotal moment for so many people. They don't understand it because they're really putting in this minimum amount of work, but they're able to expand their network in this massive way.
Mhm.
This is the power of network, baby.
Yeah,
That is the power of network. So
it's, I remember back in 2012, 2012, 2013, I was an amateur in the whole entrepreneur space. And I used to be that individual that went out and I bashed people who had 9 to 5. Like, why would you want to have a 9 to 5? You're living the 40, 40, 40 plan. You're working 40 years to die at the, to retire at the age of whatever and live off of 40% of what you couldn't already afford. Work 40 hours a week for 40, whatever it was. But I was out there like being that guy. And I want people to know that like we have to have regular jobs for society to function. And, like there's nothing wrong with having a normal traditional job, but don't let it be your only stream of income.
it
Because
cannot be.
that's when you are putting your power or putting the power of your life in somebody else's hands.
Yeah, and that's the trick. That's why I said that it's so important to put the 10%, because even if you become a worker bee for the rest of your life, you're able to build up on that 10%,
Mhm.
and then you could send that 10% to go work for you.
Yes, that's it.
Once you are, so it doesn't matter that you have to go through hardship. I know what it is to fight paycheck to paycheck. I lived through that. It's not like it's not something that happened not so recent. I know what it is like to fight paycheck to paycheck, but not being able to have this, like I'm gonna call it the financial Bible. If you do not have a financial Bible, you are literally guiding your whole entire family to the end of the stream, to where it just falls off, because you do not know which way you need to go. So it's not the win, it's the set of the sail what gets you to your place. So you can never take that. That's why you cannot allow circumstances to take over what your outcome is going to be at the end. That
Man,
could never take away from that, because
I'm
it's not the win, it's the set of the sail.
I'm glad you made that reference because it was in 2012 when I first heard that from the gentleman. You probably heard from the same person, Jim Rohn, and I didn't catch it the first couple times, and I kept listening to it. It's not the same winds blow on us all.
Everyone.
The same wind. Look, this pandemic. It don't care what you look like, where you come from, what your background was, how much money you got in your pocket. The same wind blows on us all. But it's the set of your sail that determines your arrival. So, like you got people out here, some of the first people that we knew to have this virus were people who were in the main, in the spotlight, professional athletes, celebrities, movie stars. They had this virus. So things that were going on in their life were disrupted, just the way things that are going on in our life is disrupted. And as I alluded to earlier, Jeff Bezos, his company, the same winds blew on his company.
That's right.
The same winds that are blowing on whatever company you were hired by that you're hoping to call you back, the same winds blew on you all. But the set of the sail that Jeff Bezos has been continuously adjusting his sail to, continuously, that is determining the fact that he's not paying anything in taxes. That's determining that he became even more rich as the richest man in the world. But there's so many of us that all we want to do is complain about, well, you're not helping me with this, you're not passing this law, you're not doing that, you won't hire me over there, you're saying I don't have this. Stop worrying about what you can't control. Are you actually taking ownership over what you can do? It's not your fault
That's
that
right.
what happened to you, but it dang sure is your responsibility to figure out a way out. And you got in front of you right now that are telling you, look, if you don't know who to connect to dig yourself out, we're only a Facebook message, a YouTube comment away. Reach out.
That's all. That's all to it. I liked it that it just brings it to a level to where It is not about. This is never and it will never be.
Oh, I always be
Okay. Oh, look at that! Look at that cutie pie. It is never about. It is never about what you could have accomplished. It's about what you can do right now.
Mhm.
Because another thing is that this is another thing that, like, I'm not. This is why I never would use the word that I am being mean to you. I'm just telling you the truth. It is that I heard the saying that you could bring a horse to water, you cannot force him to drink. So we're here, people. We are literally bringing you guys to the water. But if you guys do not want to drink, there's nothing that we could do about that.
Yeah. If you let me get on the phone with you enough, I'm gonna make you thirsty.
Yeah. Now it's up to you.
That's it, man. And just to kind of get ready to wrap us up, going back to the housing market deal, like there's so many people who not only are trying to figure out how to make ends meet, but how to actually get ahead. Because some people are decent right now when it comes to their cash flow, when it comes to the amount of money that they have set aside, and they're wanting to get into the investment space, but not understanding unless you got buku cash. I'm talking about you rolling in dough.
Mhm.
It's going to be difficult to get into the investment space to purchase property or whatever it may be if you ain't got your credit right.
That's
And
correct.
so many people are just oblivious, especially down where I'm from, are just oblivious of credit, the necessity of having good credit, of learning how to build your credit. So we were able to partner up with a company that gives us resources to help people get their credit in the right place.
That's
And
correct.
we're able to, not only help individuals that have connected with us, but those of us who are already connected together, seeing how we've already been able to benefit, our credit scores have been able to be decreased. We're having individuals that their auto insurance, giving them phone calls, dropping their rate, dropping how much they're paying monthly for their auto insurance simply because that credit score started to climb. And guys, like it's not difficult. Now there's a difference between hard and difficult. Now it's not difficult because difficulty is applicable to principles. And principles, all you gotta do is put them in place and it'll work. But the hard part is like you just been hard headed and not
True.
put the principles in place.
Yeah.
So you always want to connect with the right people who are going to give you the right information to position you with the right organizations to help you get in a proper financial space to where you
Yeah.
can.
Let's position you in the right place at the right time. We're here to do this because there is a humongous opportunity that just opened up.
Yeah, this
And we are
pandemic,
well ahead of the turn yet.
this pandemic is like I'm telling you. Like, I don't want to say, I don't want to, like, I'm that person. I don't like to throw it in people's face and be like, I try to tell you, but there's going to be people that this is going to pop up on our timeline a year from now today. And there's going to be people like, I watched that. Dang, why didn't I hit those guys up?
Yeah, that's right. That's gonna happen. But we're here. We'll always be here.
Yeah, we ain't going nowhere. And that's the thing, guys. You always want to attach yourself to people that, regardless of what decision you make today, they understand that like everything comes in its seasons, and you gotta learn how to weather the storm. Just because you are ignorant today, don't mean I'm going to completely cut you out of my life. And I'm not calling anybody ignorant that doesn't decide to take any type of action right now. But there's people that just, when I say ignorant, I mean literally the lack of knowledge. Just because you lack the knowledge of what is necessary to help you pull the trigger to take advantage of something that's going to position you to not be in the same position that you are right now this time next year. It don't mean I'm going to say deuces, like I don't want to talk to you, but you're the only one that's going, well, you and those who depend on you are the ones that are going to have to suffer through this slaughtering that's coming about for so many people. And I mean, we're going to go deeper on some other calls because there's some changes coming in a couple of months when it
Oh
comes
yeah.
to how people's credit scores are being reported. to these credit bureaus. And if you don't know this information, you're gonna get screwed over. You're gonna get screwed over without even seeing it coming.
That's
So
right.
you want to at least know what's coming so you can prepare yourself before
Yeah.
before it
You
hits.
want to be ready.
So guys, like reach out to Elmer, reach out to myself, or anybody that you know that may need a little assistance when it comes to learning about the importance of credit, the importance of getting life insurance, the importance of getting your budget right, the importance of stop being dumb with your spending, because financial education is one thing, but financial behavior is a complete different thing.
It's a new habit to learn. You got to
Yeah,
switch yourself from a consumer to a boss.
man, yes, yeah, that's it, man. And I've been on presentations before. I remember the first time I heard it. The gentleman was like, "Okay, I want you to take your consumer hat off and put your producer hat on," or something of the like. I'm like, producer. I remember taking economics in class back in high school. Consumer, producer, liabilities, assets. Okay, I'm coming around a little bit. But a lot of people don't realize, like, look, you can't go into getting money and thinking that just because you came on all this money and you got a little education on how to get money, that's the first relationship. Learning how to get money is the first relationship. Second one, you gotta learn how to save it. And the third one, you gotta learn how to grow it.
That's
So
it.
until you get that second and that third one going, you're just gonna stay in a perpetual cycle of I got money, I'm broke. I got money, I'm broke.
That's it.
I want to break that cycle.
That's it, man.
I break that cycle.
That's the way it is. No, the real estate right now is going to get really crazy. So we're definitely going to be here for you guys to want to take advantage of this line. This is different trends that are going on all at once.
Mm-hmm.
The credit is definitely going to become one of the biggest ones in the next few months. Like you don't understand how many people have been they need to get their credit fixed. They're gonna need a credit lawyer. They're gonna need to set aside a saving plan, a payoff debt plan. They're gonna need, all of these different plans. There's all different tools that we have available for you guys. These are all different tools that we have available for you. And but one of the other biggest things along those things that we have a tool for also. This is just one that is huge. Credit identity protection.
Yeah.
Credit identity protection. It is insane. Another thing that we have tools for, and Brian, this is something that I want to put you on blast for, because we're gonna take advantage of this one. We deal with providing you with a merchant account. If you need to purchase credit cards, we have the hookup for that. So if you are a store owner and you're looking for better rates on how much you're paying per transaction, because I know this system very well because I work involved in the banking system, as I've been involved in many different systems. I happen to do accountability and all this stuff. Running businesses, you get involved in this type of information because you need this to cover your bases. This is just important basics. So we just want to be able to get your bases covered, so that way when it's time to run home, you're settled and you're ready to go. And you have no thing in the way that's going to be missed. Everything's going to be on point.
That's real, man. And when you can come to one place and get a variety of resources of help, like that's what it's all about, guys. Now I stand here before you with two bachelor's degrees, a master's degree, working on a doctorate degree. So a whole bunch of knowledge has come with all those degrees. And then at the same time, you got Elmer over here, and he has all of his expertise. You have other individuals that are directly connected with us with various different expertise. So all you have to do is reach out to one of us. You have access to another instead of trying to figure out, okay, can I trust this person to handle this for my business? Can I trust this person to handle this for my personal finance? Like, come to somebody who you already trust and that can vouch for someone else in their network to keep you from having to go and shop around, because there's just so much that society doesn't teach us, that school doesn't teach us, that we have to teach ourselves, and we have to build a circle of trust amongst ourselves so we can take care of each other in those spaces. Because if the traditional system taught us these things, they won't have enough worker bees.
No way.
So that's what we're here for, guys. We want to create you into a hybrid. So you go down, keep doing your job, keep
Hey,
doing
yes, sir.
9 to 5, your 11 to 7, whatever it may be, but start developing something on the side. And we're here to help you start developing that. I've created one business. My first business was a partnership, and it's actually right here. This was a partnership I created back in 2015. We got the license in 2016. This one is my company, Your Legacy Begins Now, business license that I started in 2018. Started 2 new companies this year with one of my partners. The business licenses will be most likely in his possession. But we've created companies, guys. We've
Correct.
created companies. This is a congratulations for a nonprofit organization that I helped start here in Mississippi. So guys, we have a level of expertise behind the things that we speak on. We're not just this guy off the street that's like, you know what, I read this book about starting businesses. I watched this YouTube video about starting businesses and getting your. No, we have lived these things, guys.
That's right.
We've lived it. So that's who you want to reach out to. And off of that note, Elmer, where can they find you, man?
Yeah, man. You definitely find me at facebook.com/empresario.2020. So it would be
2020. I'm gonna type that in the chat real quick.
yeah. So the 2020 is actually a 2 and a capital O. If you put 2020 with regular numbers, it won't show up.
Well,
I have to get creative.
Yeah, we'll tag Elmer in the in the video or in the comments.
Oh, for sure, yeah. So that's you can find me there. You can find me at my regular Facebook page, Elmer Irizarry. You can also find me on Instagram, Pro Prevent. If you look Pro Prevent, PROPREVN, which is Pro Prevention, and in short. And you can find me there on Instagram. You can find me also in Facebook. And yeah, it's the way to get in touch with me. It's through social media. That's where I'm at all the time.
Beautiful. Well, man, I appreciate it. And we're definitely going to be doing this again.
For sure.
You know, we all we got, man.
That's it.
We got to be here for one another because the systems that we operate underneath, like they weren't designed for us.
No way.
We got to do it, man. So I'm off that note. Thank you, man. I'm going to link back up with you. I'll shoot you a message in a bit.
Yeah.
We'll do it again soon. Take it easy.
Sure. Thank you, man.
Bye. All right, guys. So that was my guy, Elmer. For the longest, I thought that Elmer lived in New York, but he's actually he's a Florida guy. So I'll probably be over the next year or so popping up. Well, when things get back to normal, popping up in Florida, we'll probably put together some events and just really help people get out of the situations that they're in, and also continue to level up from the situation that we're currently in. Because one thing that you want to realize is, regardless of how successful you are, regardless of where you've made it already in life, there's always another level. There's always another level. So humble yourself enough to do a little bit of research on certain people that may be where it is that you're looking to get to, and connect yourself with them. Because a lot of times they are humble enough to be like, you know what? I don't want to see you stay on that level. I don't want to see you keep struggling like that. You might not see yourself struggling, but I know there's a life out there that you can start to live so that you can design something where your kids, your kids, your nieces and nephews, they can have life starting out so much easier because of what you did. So off that note, guys, I just want to remind everyone that it don't matter where you started. It don't matter where your parents, your mom, dad, brothers, it don't matter anybody that came before you, even all the way up to today, what they did, the trials and tribulations. You can start today to reach out to Elmer, to reach out to myself, to reach out to anybody in our network, anybody in your extended network that may be doing something that you aim to do. Reach out to those people and surround yourself with the right people and put the right things into your mind and start living your life of purpose, because your legacy begins now. See you guys next time. Peace.